Welcome to Timelines of Success, episode 94. Today we have Lieutenant Colonel retired now, Rick Burns.
Yes.
Hooah. Congratulations.
It's been a long road.
But you haven't escaped Leavenworth yet.
No, the Army, after a decade or more deploying, the Army's the only one that loves me anymore. So I'm down here doing some work down at Leavenworth for the Army.
You know, there's a lot of work for those people with special credentials.
Yeah. Yeah, but there are fewer and fewer of those as time goes on here, as the war kind of sort of settles a little bit, and there are fewer of those opportunities to take advantage of the Army.
We might just talk about that during this conversation, the war and the future and what's going on, but you're doing some really neat things. First, I want to know a little bit about yourself and how you got to where you are today. And first of all, tell us exactly what you're doing today with your nonprofits.
Yeah, I've got a nonprofit called the Karadah Project, and what we're trying to do is continue some of the work we did in Iraq and Afghanistan as military folks. Obviously, there's still a need. There's still things going on there, things that need to be fixed over there. And when I came home, realized I wasn't going to deploy again, it kind of occurred to me that I felt like I still had something to offer to Iraq and Afghanistan where I'd served, and felt like there were some things I could still do that might be helpful and kind of continue the mission that we had over there after the Army, post-Army. And so we're doing, I founded a nonprofit in 2010, and we are going forward with some projects, some agricultural projects, small projects in villages in Western Afghanistan, and helping to build some conduits of mentoring and partnering relationships between organizations and people in Iraq and the United States.
So what's it like running a nonprofit? The last time I was there as an S9, I spent $250 million.
I'm not spending $250 million.
You don't have the big budget, do you?
No, and actually, this is truly is a labor of love. When I was over there in both of those countries, the people that I saw in the Iraq and Afghanistan that I think of when I go are the people that were working on the grounds, and they're continuing to try to make their communities much better. You don't see them very often because they're working very, very hard at a kind of under the radar, but there are some awfully brave and courageous folks that have put their lives on the line to try to make their communities better. And those are the folks I think of, and those are the folks we're trying to support in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Absolutely. It's a crazy world out there. We just got, after 5 years, one of my interpreters, we just got him out of the country.
Yeah, and that's a whole other story too. And I think not necessarily one of our most proud moments is how we have not facilitated more efficiently getting our translators who truly are in danger out of those places where they're likely to be killed.
You know, thank goodness we started working on his package like 4 or 5 years ago. Twice there. I knew him. I made contact with him on 2 different tours, and he didn't do his package the first tour. He said, he's a cobbler. He's happy. I said, no, you need to get out of here. Yeah, you need to get out. So, hey, tell us how you got to where you are today. Now, you graduated from, you went to school in Provo,
right?
University, Brigham Young
University. Graduated, ROTC commissioned. Spent some time in the Utah National Guard, and as a linguist. My language was Danish, which may seem a little odd, still odd to me, but it got me in the Army, and I was a Danish linguist, MI linguist, military intelligence linguist, for about 12 years. We moved to Iowa, where I took a job running the Danish Immigrant Museum, it's now called the Museum of Danish America, in a little town between Omaha and Des Moines called Elkhorn, and ended up in the Iowa National Guard as an S2 at a battalion, and then got promoted, made the promotion list to major, and there didn't seem to be some opportunities I felt like I wanted to take advantage of in the Iowa Guard. So joined the reserves as a civil affairs guy.
Right, good move.
In March, it turned out to be March of 2002. I moved down to a unit in South Kansas City, Civil Affairs Unit for 18 Civil Affairs, and that was in March 2002. In January 2003, we got a call, be in formation that next Friday morning, and we didn't come home for 15 months. So that was very exciting and kind of unsettling period of time for my family. I got 6 kids, and So it was, it was challenging. I married well. I proved that. My wife has been an awfully a great support to me, and over a decade period of a decade, she raised my kids. They all are wonderful, upstanding adults, and so it seemed like a good plan. I leave the country, and she raises my kids. But she truly did a really spectacular job in ways that I don't think most folks have any idea about or have any understanding of what happens with our families. So I did that.
I was going to say, there's no doubt in my mind that in some ways it's a lot tougher on our families than it is on us because we know what's going on.
True, and we get slaps on the back, and hey, like I said, my wife raised five of our children by herself, pretty much for a decade, and so I've been for some reason she still loves me. So
when I say we know what's going on, we know our family's safe, and
sure.
They don't know what our situation is at any one time.
Sure.
We might be talking to them one minute and out the door the next, and have rockets come in. They don't know that. They don't need to know that either.
Yeah.
But it's tough. It's tough on the families. The families really deserve a good pat in the back from all our soldiers and sailors and Marines.
Yeah, absolutely.
Airmen.
I think they really are the unsung heroes in a lot of this.
Yep, true. The families. So anyway, driving on.
So we spent about 15 months. Well, we spent 15 months deployed and came back. And then 2007, we were deployed again. The first time I was north of Baghdad. The second time in 2008, when we got over there, we were in southeast Baghdad in a place. I was the brigade's liaison with a political district, the Karadah political district. And so during that time, I felt like I didn't know, I was pretty sure I wasn't coming back to Iraq. I don't know why I knew that, but I just felt like, and I wanted to do something I knew I wanted to do something after my military career, and I didn't really know what that was, hadn't really formulated that, but I came upon the idea of setting up a sister city partnership between the Karadah political district and Council Bluffs, Iowa. And we did that very quickly and had a video conference signing. So they were able to see each other on both sides there, and we signed that agreement, that partnership, which continues today. We're continuing to strengthen that. In 2010, 2011, I was in Afghanistan and had some spare time, so I applied for 501c3 status for a nonprofit.
Spare time.
Spare time, yeah, exactly. And so we did that. So in 2010, retroactively, we were granted 501c3 Iowa nonprofit corporation status.
Out of Iowa? Is that Iowa?
Out of Iowa.
Oh, okay. So that's interesting. Is that your first nonprofit?
Well, I ran a nonprofit. I ran a museum for a number of years in Elkhorn, so I had some understanding of what it meant. I pretty much had to make payroll every month, and it was a small Danish museum with a lot of ambition, and so I had some experience running a nonprofit, but this is a whole new experience, trying to figure out how to kind of sort of support folks in another country where you really don't have easy access to, as far as actually being on the ground there.
Right.
But again, the people that we're supporting are so grateful, and the people that are our partners over there are so grateful for the support that they get. And on top of that, it's not just a partnership. These are truly friends of mine. The folks I work with in Karadah, we still have conversations. Thank goodness for Facebook, and that we're able to maintain those relationships a little bit better than we would be able to just simply by email. And so my approach to this whole nonprofit thing is it's not really a job. I'll never make a dime off of it. I never intend to. But it is an opportunity for me to help people that I really truly consider to be friends.
Right. It's they're in the nonprofit business. They vary so much. What have been your biggest challenges with setting up this nonprofit? What's the one biggest challenge, or the biggest?
Well, the initial challenge is trying to get it through the IRS. That's always
really
a challenge. It's a challenge.
How long did it take?
It took me a year, which I think is pretty standard.
A year to get through a nonprofit in the IRS.
Yeah. Well, in my nonprofit, one of the questions I festered over was, how are you going to guarantee that the people you're providing money to or aid to are not bad guys? And I fretted over that.
Yeah,
For a
we
while.
always do.
Yeah, and
I know that of my $250 million on one tour. By the way, I did tours 7, 8, and tour 9. We were at Leavenworth together in human train team system. You weren't. I was in uniform. You were going through as a Department of the Army civilian,
right.
and I just come back from a tour and I was so beat up. That was my second tour there, and I remember a lot of our money, that $250 million, we know got into the bad guys' hands.
Sure.
Because we're pushing too much out, and we changed tactics later.
Yeah, and that's the problem. And again, it's something I had railed against, and I had just complained and whined about for so long that's what really kind of spurred me to start the nonprofit, kind of to figure out whether we could do it better, right? Can we provide aid in a way that's productive and not just simply money spent, right, or projects completed? Do we really reach the outcomes that we're looking for? And that really has been the driving force behind my attempts to make this nonprofit something that's a little bit different.
So how do you keep the money out of the bad guys' hands?
Well, we are, and again, here's what I tell people. I've had people say, we've got goats in Afghanistan. How do you guarantee that they're not going to, just eat the goats, right? Well,
like the wheat.
Right, exactly. So the thing is, the reality is there's no way to completely 100% guarantee that everything I'm doing in Iraq and Afghanistan is fraught with risk. It's a very unstable area of the world, and so I'm very upfront with that. But what we try to do is fence it in. We try to make sure that we are getting reports back, that we're getting pictures back, that we have people that we trust as best we can. Actually managing the projects for us. It would be awfully wonderful. I would just absolutely love to go over there and be on the ground over there. It's just not a possibility. Not because I'm fearful for me, but oftentimes I'm fearful for the people that we might associate with who might then be marked as targets for the bad guys. And so, our presence over there sometimes is a very dangerous thing for people that we work with. And so we try to make sure that, we're putting the appropriate pictures up, and that we, they're telling us on the ground what the risks are and things like that. And so that's what we try to do. And we try to, with our goats, for example, we're trying to track those things over time so that we know that if a family gets 2 goats, over a period of time, that goat herd should grow. If it's not growing, then something's wrong, right? So we're trying to make sure that our outcomes match what our marketing is, right? That we truly are finding ways to try to make sure that the money spent really truly is going where it's supposed to be doing, and it's doing the good that we say it's going to be doing. We brought a council person over, one of the local councils over last summer from Baghdad, and we're still working with her. We're trying to find ways that, we've got a sister city video conference, and so we're running that contest. So we're running that through we're running through Aisha, right? So we're trying to build these relationships and trying to find out really what the biggest impact we can make for the least amount of money.
Yep, that's good. I know that the nonprofits the right nonprofits spend their money much better than we ever can in USAID or in civil military operations. SERP. Remember SERP?
Yes.
Had a lot of SERP. Hey, I've got to take a tactical break, but guess what? We're going to take this out from the podcast, but we're going to stay live on the video cast. So enjoy. You can entertain people. I got to go. This is what happens in the studio, right? When you have it in your house. I'm back. No one can see me, though. Rick's gone. I'm back. Folks, so you know that had to take a tackle break. My kids are in gymnastics. My wife had to go pick them up, and we had our dinner in the oven. And this studio is in my house. So as we look for Rick, I will entertain you. Since we're staying live, he is in Leavenworth. There he is. He's back with his iPad.
Yes.
This is the first time we've done them on iPhones, but never iPads. This is really working out well.
Yeah, I love my iPad for some things.
I play with my wife all the time. Adjust my sound. So we're going to drive on, closing up your first part of your life. This is an ongoing thing, and we'll talk about this at the end, about how people can get involved, how they can help you. But in the meantime, we're going to go to our bottom line up front question is Bluff. By the way, if you look at my email, it's bill@bluf.tv. I'm about to drop that because no one gets what Bluff is.
Yeah.
No, and they think it's, what is it? Your cards? Is this a joke?
Yeah, I always thought it was kind of a bad thing anyway, because it really doesn't, a bluff is not a good thing. Right?
Bottom line up front? Yeah, bottom line up front's good, but not
no, I understand
the word.
that,
The word's not.
Yeah.
So I got my mess around websites are Bluff TV, bluff.tv.
Yeah.
And so I don't use those for my regular company. But I use them for everything else. Hey, let's drive on. This is kind of my fun part. Do you use a Mac or PC?
I use, right now I'm having to use a Mac because my PC went down. I don't like Macs, but it's because I'm not familiar with it. I'm getting more familiar with it, but I'm an old PC guy from way back, so.
I still like PCs. I did PCs forever. Being in the military, we always do PCs.
Yeah.
But the only thing that's good about the Mac is actually it's less hassle in the long run. For me, it's a little harder with the folders.
You've learned how to use it.
Yeah, I love my Mac, but I always get on Finder and the folders. I got to make a duplicate. I can't just copy it or drag it. It's really using the folders. That's about the only thing to me is really different.
Yeah.
In the database and some of the stuff they do secretly. So you got that, and we're on right now. What do you use for phone?
What my daughter commonly refers to as a lame phone.
Oh no!
I go.
Oh, you just tuned out there. That's interesting. Okay, folks. Oh, he's back. He's actually in a hotel, and he's using his MacBook Pro he's using his iPod to do the interview. Are you still there?
Yeah, you froze up for a minute.
You froze too. I don't know if it's you or me, but Rick is doing this on an iPad. First time we've used an iPad.
Yeah.
So we're wandering a little bit here, but that's okay. So on the iPad, so you got, what kind of phone is it? You frozen the phone.
It's just a Verizon, what my daughter refers to as a lame phone.
Just keep it away from the iPad. I think it's like poison.
Oh, is that right?
I'm just joking. That was the only time it froze up. So very good. So you use both Mac and PC. So what is your favorite technology that makes life easier? Makes you more productive?
Obviously, because I've got to deal with folks on the other side of the world, Skype or Google Hangouts.
Yep.
Those are extremely helpful.
Hangouts are amazing now, aren't they? And Skype.
Well, I actually had I surprised my wife here a while back and had all my kids on the
all at one time.
Chat, right? Of course, now it's chaos because everybody's talking at one time, right? So there's no control with it, but it's a good thing for I had the other day. We've got an intern, and then my marketing person's up in Michigan, so we had a meeting the other morning with Google Hangouts. We're fine.
Very good. No, we didn't talk about your family a whole lot. Yeah, we didn't talk about your family. You got 5 or 6 kids, right?
Yeah, we've got 6 kids now, so
that keeps you busy.
We raised 5 kids, and now we've got another daughter that we're raising, and I got an awesome family.
So
again, I left for a decade. My wife raised them, so it was awesome.
Well, I wasn't gone quite a decade.
Not totally true.
I was gone probably about 5-6 years within a 10-year period, 11-year period.
Well, it wasn't totally, but
you get back.
I did a lot of commuting down to Leavenworth in between.
Yeah, it's a long commute from Leavenworth to Reno.
Yeah, it's 3 hours for me.
Yeah, it's a long commute. What quote best motivates you?
I really, there's a Gandhi quote that says, "Whatever you do will not be enough, but it matters enormously that you do it." And I think my life was really redirected by my experiences in Iraq and Afghanistan, and so my retirement will be a continuation of my work in Iraq and Afghanistan. I don't see any end to that, but it's a hugely frustrating place to be operating. It's very it's hard to find the victory sometimes, and all of that. But I think Gandhi's quote puts it aptly, and that is that we'll never be able to do enough. You'll never ever be able to reach some level that you can say I've done enough, right? Because there's seems to be always poverty and instability and things like that. But it matters, I think, enormously that we all do what we can do, and that everybody should be making the world a better place no matter where you are. If it's in Reno or if it's in Elkhorn, Iowa, or if it's in Iraq or Afghanistan, that's not the important thing. The important thing, I think, is that we exert our energies in a positive way to make a difference in the world.
Hold that thought. I'm going to come back to that after we finish our bottom line upfront questions. Who is your favorite book and author? That motivational book or?
I read a lot of biographies, and I read biographies because I've learned that everybody's flawed, that everybody, even the people that we consider geniuses, had flaws and warts and all kinds of uncomfortable things in their life. And I think, far from being a negative thing, I find that positive because it inspires me to find that little bit of genius amongst all of the flaws that I find in my life and all the shortcomings and my sense of not, being great necessarily, but I think we all have some genius that we're trying to find, and so I read a lot of history book. I read Unbroken a year and a half ago before it came out as a movie. I gave it to all my kids and my dad for Christmas a year ago Christmas because I felt like it was that incredible a book to read, and really the movie doesn't go far enough. The movie only goes to the end of the war. The really amazing thing about Louis Zamperini is that he spiraled down and then he spiraled up, and he became a great force for good in the lives of young men who may not have gotten on a positive path had he not been there.
So that's in the book. I think there's
so
40 chapters, and I've read 30. Oh, we froze again.
It's an awesome book. I probably should. I spoiled it for you, but I would read it again. It's that powerful book.
Good. And you saw the
movie?
movie?
I've been reading Rick Atkinson. Yeah, I did see the movie. The movie was not quite as intense, but I think it was intense enough that more people will be able to see it because I think it's just an awesome story to be told.
It didn't go into how bad the torture really was. The movie, I thought.
No, but it gave you a sense of it.
Right.
And I think if they could back off on the ratings, give it a PG-13 rating, that means that more people might have an opportunity to see that.
Right. So what was the next book?
Well, I've been reading Rick Atkinson, the third in his Liberation trilogy. He goes through North Africa, and then he goes through the Italian campaign, and now the Normandy invasion and the end of the war. Again, the things I find exciting about that and terribly interesting are the parts that talk about the leaders and these flaws in genius, right? This display of people who are able to emerge with a certain level of genius interspersed with all these other kind of character flaws and things like that. And I find that inspiring because it just gives me hope that I can find that little bit of genius somewhere.
Give me a great leader who has one big flaw. Which one? There's a lot of them, but point out one.
Well, you look at all the generals; they all had egos.
Yeah, I was thinking of Grant and his drinking.
Egos. What's that?
Grant, he used to drink.
Yeah, but their egos, the Bradleys and the Pattons and Montgomerys, they all had this. I'm not sure they had their soldiers' interest all the time. They wanted to be at the point of the spear here. They wanted to throw their guys at it. And so these egos, I think, sometimes are flaws. Sometimes I think maybe that was the reason they could do what they did. But there were some flaws there. There were some bad decisions made because of egos.
Yeah, that's definitely true in World War II.
You know, it's not, sometimes you needed that ego, I suppose, to be able to make the decisions you had to send folks into battle, you know, send men into harm's way.
We're,
But,
we're, we're finishing up the bottom line up front questions, but I'm going to sort of add something to it right now because when you get back from a deployment, a long deployment, a 15-month deployment, I spent some very long deployments. What do you do for the month after you get back, or 2 months? What's it like?
you know, I hang out with my kids. I got that month of leave that I don't have when I'm working in the,
Right.
you know, the civilian world. I just loved hanging out with I love hanging out with the soccer moms at ball games and stuff. You know, to me, that's what I've got nothing. I got nothing else. I'm a very boring guy.
Twice when I got back, I jumped in a plane and took my son to Alaska. Once to Hawaii. We jumped in a military aircraft. Well, I was still on active duty. You know, you get 30 days active. You know, your active duty leave. But my last my last one's from Afghanistan. I watched movies for like 30 days on.
Yeah.
Watch YouTube. Wow, YouTube.
Yeah, it's a lot easier now.
So anyway, very good. So tying it all together, what do you enjoy doing when you're not running your nonprofit and staying busy working?
Well, I don't really do a lot else, really, because my nonprofit's kind of my extracurricular kinds of stuff. You know, I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the Mormons. And, you know, we don't have a paid clergy, so right now I'm head of our congregation. I'm the head of our congregation, and you know, that takes up some time too. You know, so Connie and I'll go shopping for groceries. So that's a I mean, again, I'm a very boring guy. The things that drive me, though, my nonprofit does not work for me. It's frustrating, and it's you know, I can't do as much as I want, but it's really what drives a lot. My church service and my nonprofit really are the things that I do outside of you know, the paying job.
Right. So, being the head of the LDS chapter of your church, that's called a chapter. What's the name of that?
Well, it's called branch president. We're a small congregation.
Okay, president.
Bishops are over.
Bishop, that's right. We froze up again. Sorry about that. Let's keep on going. So anyway, we're having a little challenges tonight. You'll see this on the YouTube feed. Unfortunately.